Dawkins, are you here?
Yes, I am.
And Kristi Villenueva, are you here?
Yes, sir, I am here.
All right. I will give each of you an opportunity to give an introduction and a stump speech for 2 minutes. And I will time you and I'll say something when you run over. And after that, we will rotate among the candidates, giving you questions which I would like you to answer inside of 1 minute. So let us begin with the self-introductions from Dori Brown, please.
Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
I can.
Okay, great. Good morning. Yes, I'm Dori Brown running for District 2. I guess a little bit about me. I've been a business owner of accounting and tax service for like 7 years. I've worked for State Representative Ruth Jones McClendon for 2 years. I've been in public accounting. I do a lot of community service, as well as work on the board for the Claude Black Center, Queen of Soul, which is part of Fiesta. Work with Juneteenth, and whoever calls me to work, I'm willing to work. This opportunity to serve, to me, it's just it's more of an honor to serve, to be of service to my community, where I felt I could be, there's a need, and that I could do, handle this position, because I feel like whatever affects me, affects the district, it affects me. I've been in the district over 25 years, and I just know that District 2 feel like has been taken for granted, and we have more to offer to the city of San Antonio and to the residents. So I just want to be here to serve the residents. It's not about me, it's about making sure our district, it's your voice that I want to be heard, that I'm working for the people of District 2. So this is my second time running, so I don't take it lightly. If I step up to run, it's because I'm stepping up to serve, and I won't take that person or anybody's vote for granted. There's a lot of things that need to be done, but first off, we need to focus on the people resident of District 2 and making sure that their quality of life is what they want. Yes, there's a lot of big hurdles when we talk about digital divide and the police and different things that need to be addressed, and that I will address and that will be worked on.
Mrs. Brown.
But the people come first. Thank you.
Okay. And Jalen McKee-Rodriguez, could we hear from you for 2 minutes as self-introduction?
Yes. So I'm Jalen McKee-Rodriguez. I'm a 25-year-old high school math teacher at Madison High School. I'm a cat dad and I'm a husband. I moved to San Antonio almost 8 years ago to attend UTSA, where I got my BA in communication and where I'll graduate this summer with my master's in educational leadership and policy studies. As teachers, we're the first line of defense for so many students. And just yesterday, I got news that one of my students attempted suicide. And the day before that, a student had confided in me that the reason they've been so disengaged is because they've realized they're trans and they want to live their authentic truth, but are terrified for their family to find out. And many other students have distanced themselves from their families following the Capitol riots. So while some may say that these positions are nonpartisan, which they are, the leadership we need is absolutely not, because our lives are political. But I do want to stress the importance of collaboration. I've watched each council member, and I've been in City Hall with all of the current council members as a council aide, and I've seen what really drives them and what motivates them. So while we're used to a divided City Hall, I will not contribute to that culture. I'll be able to work with every council person from District 1 all the way through District 10, including the new faces that we're going to see in District 3 and 5. And my desire to run is rooted in my sadness, anger, and optimism. My sadness is rooted in my experience as an educator, and my anger is rooted in my experience in campaigns and in City Hall, because I know the impact that the influence of our council members can have on my students and their families. I know what rent forgiveness, an extended eviction moratorium, citywide broadband, quality jobs. I know what difference these things can make, and I'm sad and angry that our city council has not delivered, but I remain optimistic that it's not too late to change. Overwhelmingly, the response that we've gotten from our neighbors is that we need new leadership. And so we're building a coalition of neighborhood leaders, community organizations, and people who are ready for new leadership, fresh voices, and working class representation. And I believe that things can change with progressive leadership. And so that's why I'm running for City Council District 2.
Thank you, Mr. McKee-Rodriguez. Now can we hear for a self-introduction from Chris Dawkins? Chris Dawkins?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for the opportunity to be here and to speak to you today. I'm running for District 2, and I'm grounded in maturity in politics. That's happened for me because I've learned politics from a very early age. From the time I was very young in Columbus, Ohio, I was participating in politics. But I really want to focus on San Antonio. First of all, I do believe in the type of development that has to occur. San Antonio is in very close proximity with Austin, Texas. And I believe not only being a District 2 council person, you also have to look at what you're going to do as far as helping the city of San Antonio. And that being the case, I think we have a very good opportunity to be able to usher ourselves into the type of city that we really want to be. San Antonio is starting to develop itself in ways that I believe that are very important. So I am pro development and want to see developers to be able to work with neighborhoods to be able to develop in San Antonio. And as I talked about Austin, I believe San Antonio can be to Austin as Fort Worth is to Dallas. And we've got to look for those things. I believe, just like Jalen talked about, I do believe that the kids are important. District 2 does not really participate in school board issues, but I believe that we can provide opportunities for them as well. So to be able to strengthen the neighborhoods, put them together to make sure that they are our focus, make sure that each neighborhood is represented. Currently, right now, we have some of the neighborhoods in San Antonio that don't participate in the free program that the city has. And we've got to figure out why that is. We want more people to participate in neighborhoods and make sure that those neighborhoods are strong. We then must engage with those neighborhoods as being a District 2 person, engage with those neighborhoods, see what they want, and represent them in their needs. I want to be able to talk to each and every neighborhood, make sure that they're included, and do the things that are necessary for them. Thank you. I'm not hearing you, Ian. I think you're on mute.
You're right. I was on mute. Let's see. Kristi Villenueva. Can we hear your self-introduction, please?
Good morning. Thank you so much. So I am Kristi Villenueva, former president and CEO of the West San Antonio Chamber of Commerce, also former board member for Via Metropolitan Transit, and a former appointee for the Ethics Board. I was also on the Climate Action Adaptation Plan Steering Committee over the last few years. I believe, as with many of the other candidates, that we need change in District 2. We are definitely on the same path together, all of us, because we need strong leadership, we need better opportunities, and our district is being left behind, and it has been left behind for many years. So we need to get things together. We need to focus, unite, and make sure that we're providing opportunities for everyone across the district, no matter who they are, no matter what they do. It is important for us to come together, and I am prepared to do that as your candidate. I am also a business owner, and I understand what is needed in order to get this district back into shape for a strategic outlook into the future, because it's not about me being elected, it's about what we give back to our neighbors, our neighborhood associations, and the community at large. Thank you, sir.
All right. Let's see. I'm told that we have Chris Darden with us now. Is that correct?
No, it's Tyrone Darden, sir.
Tyrone.
Tyrone Darden, I'm sorry. And you're running for District 2 as well, I believe.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I will include you in the rotation, and we are now asking you to give a 2-minute self-introduction or a stump speech.
Yes, sir. Thank you for the opportunity. My name is Norris Tyrone Darden III. I'm a native son of District 2. Been here my entire 41 years. Graduated from Sam Houston High School in 1998. And after going to Texas State University on an athletic scholarship, earning my bachelor's in criminal justice and my master's in special education, I came back to the community to serve. Serving as a special education teacher at Davis for 4 years, and then as a teacher and a coach at Sam Houston for a year. In the last 12 years, I've been at George Gervin Academy in many capacities, all the way up to a principal and campus leader. With that being said, why am I running for District 2? Like all of the other candidates have said, it's time for true leadership in our district. This is not a knock on anyone that has come before this election and this race, but we have had many inconsistencies over the last 7 to 8 years. I believe that being a native son, understanding the inner workings of District 2, having the relationships as a board member for the Alamo City Black Chamber of Commerce, being the chairman of Beat AIDS Coalition, having the much experience in education, in grant writing, and just the overall understanding of our community, I believe I can be that leader. A lot of times we look at District 2 in a silo, but the true key of success in our district is relationships, is collaborations. District 10, District 1, and District 3 are our neighbors. We have to start working with them. As Jalen said earlier, having those relationships and kind of understanding what the needs are in other communities will help our district. I believe that I am that candidate that can move that ball and not only get things done, but sustain them for generations to come. I have children, I'm a father, and I want to ensure that just as when I came up as a young person in District 2, there was opportunities, there's opportunities for my children as well. So again, thank you for this opportunity. I look forward to any questions that the membership of the Northeast Democrats may ask. Thank you.
All right. We will now move on to a set of questions. I will rotate the questions among the candidates so that no one is always first or always last. And I ask you to answer these in 1 minute. The first question is, how do you stand on expanding workforce training for the poor? And we will begin with Tyrone Darden. Mr. Darden.
Yes, sir. Thank you for that question. So number one, we have to look at what resources that we already have in the community. From the state level, the workforce development gets millions of dollars that aren't distributed equally or equitably, and in most situations are sent back to the state. So number one, we have to identify the resources we have and figure out why are we not getting them out to the people who need them the most, why are we not connected to our communities, and take care of those resources. Then we have to identify the resources that are coming. We know the city of San Antonio just passed the SA Ready to Work situation. So we need to ensure that District 2 has connectivity to those funds. It's going to be a 4-year program. We cannot let 4 years pass without our community, without our people being engaged with that. There's training, there's stipends, there's so many elements associated with that we have to have. So expanding is a great thing. The key issue to start with, though, is to identify what we already have. The other part of it is this, though. We have to work with those entities. We have to work with the directors of workforce.
Time, Mr. Darden.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Can we hear on the same question from Jalen McKee-Rodriguez about workforce training?
Sure. So I am absolutely supportive of workforce training, but when we're talking about poverty, a lot of the problem that exists is, due to lack of opportunity. We're talking about workforce training for jobs that do not and may not ever exist. And we're talking about pull them up by their bootstraps mentality. And we should be talking about, a wage that currently is not livable. So if and when people get these hypothetical jobs, they still will not be able to keep up with the rising cost of living. We need a city hall that's going to advocate for a livable wage. And we need more jobs. If we commit to carbon neutrality, if we commit to pre-K for all, housing for all, we're talking about job creation. Also, I do want to say that we don't talk enough about those who are left out. So undocumented people, the formerly incarcerated, and people who have not and cannot receive federal support. We also need to support the businesses that exist already, just like Tyrone was saying, the entrepreneurs that exist in our district. There are people in our district with a vision who need support, and we need to give them that support.
Time. Can we hear on the same question on workforce training from Chris Dawkins, please?
Yes, sir. Workforce training is definitely something that is very paramount in San Antonio. And the reason why it's paramount in San Antonio is one of the reasons that we're not able to attract large corporations is because the lack of our workforce training. Prior to COVID, we had this problem, and COVID has only exacerbated this problem. So this is something that San Antonio has to get their arms around, and we must be very proactive in trying to do whatever we can with workforce training. I, like all the others, are in favor of workforce training, but we just need to be able to figure out what is going to be the best way for us to do that. And we've got to do that as a city, not only District 2, but all districts. Thank you.
And can we hear about workforce training from Kristi Villenueva, please?
Yes, sir. So of course, workforce training is very important. Working with the chamber and with other entities, I have had an opportunity to work one-on-one with a number of businesses along with their staff. What we are seeing in District 2 is there's a lot of folks that are in poverty that cannot even get the breathing room to get into some new programs, that don't have the opportunity to step back from their regular jobs, whether it's regular 8 to 5 or shift work or other types of jobs, to get into these more advanced programs. The other thing is, since we did pass this referendum, this is truly only feeding a small portion of our population. And as I checked into the workforce solutions programs that are available to all people across the city, we do have a facility that serves our community on the east side, but very few people are taking advantage of it for a number of reasons. They're being sent out to other offices. They don't have transportation to get to where the training has been in the past. Today, it is mostly online, but we need to do more for our community. As a business owner myself, my husband and I always hire folks to give them that second chance. And even if they have been incarcerated, we want to make sure that they are earning a living wage. And it's important to us to do more. And I do put pressure on other business owners to make sure that they are also hiring and sharing in this equality for our community, which trickles out into all communities. Thank you, sir.
And can we hear from Dori Brown on workforce training?
Hello, once again. Yes, we have to kind of look at the root of the problem. As Kristi said earlier, we have a facility that is not being utilized. And when you go, we first need to reach out to the poor, to the young, to the individuals, and let them know what's out there. We have to look at not just one individual, but the whole family. When you're in an environment where your family doesn't know or doesn't understand the value of the training, then you don't think it's important. And so we need to say reach out, starting even at the high schools, reach out with the parents, reach out to show them the value of the training. Everybody wants that $15 an hour. But if you don't have the values instilled in you to possess the job, to get the training, throwing $15 up is not going to be beneficial if they're not going to maintain the jobs or what it takes to keep the $15 an hour. And so we need to make sure as we reach the people, go to the people, find the root of the problem, build the foundation, and bring in this training to utilize 100% of what's already out there. And so Yes, we still need to look at all the resources, but we need to
Mrs.
look at
Brown.
the people. Thank you.
Okay. Our next question from asked in chat is about crime in District 2. What would you do about crime in District 2? And can we first hear from Chris Dawkins?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for that question. First of all, crime in District 2, there is an issue, but it's not as high as folks would have you to believe. What I hope that all of these candidates will do, whomever is elected, is get the neighborhoods involved. We find that where crime is high, you have lack of neighborhood involvement. Those places where neighborhoods have an organization that is participating, crime is not as high in those neighborhoods. And that's why it's very important. It's imperative that we get neighborhoods involved. That is going to be the first thing in making sure that we can get rid of crime. Now, crime is something that happens. Nobody is immune to crime. I don't care which neighborhood that you're in, but there are certain types of crimes that we have that, yes, we can address and we can do some different things. Thank you.
And can we hear from Kristi Villenueva about crime in District 2?
Yes, sir. So I am a resident. I live here full-time in District 2, and I have been a victim, my family and I, of a number of different things that have gone on. Just 2.5 months ago, we had a shooting right next door to my home, and unfortunately, someone died from that, and that was due to a short-term rental. So, and I have no problem saying that District 2 has turned into the Wild Wild West, essentially, in certain parts of the area. And we need to make sure to crack down on that. Our neighbors that I have spoken to tell me that they have not gotten involved because they continuously get pushed away by city staff. They continuously are ignored by different people of authority. They call 311, they call 911, and they just cannot get positive responses. And we need to change that within our district. And I know that I'm confident that all of our candidates here will have that same thing in mind, but we need to do more for them. We don't want to be victims. Our children cannot even go out onto the street.
Time, Mrs. Villenueva.
Thank you.
Can we next hear from Dori Brown about crime in District 2?
Yes, and concerning the crime, we do have to look at the areas that are actually may have the most crime. We have different ways that we can communicate. We can't arrest the crime away, so we need to look at some of the root of the problem. Sometimes it's just, people looking for a high, something to do, boredom. We need to find out how we can address, those situations and provide a release or an outlet for the young people whoever is committing the crimes. We have great ways to see what's personally affecting people through such things as like the Nextdoor app. Being a victim of crime, I've had somebody go through my car. Where I'm at now, I'm like, it's nice and quiet, but I can look at the Nextdoor app, and even in my neighborhood, somebody said they heard gunshots. So we need to communicate with our police officers, maybe in those areas, bring out more patrols and reconnect the community with the police department. There's a lot of separation and tension there that we need to resolve.
Okay. Can we next hear from Jalen McKee-Rodriguez about crime in District 2?
Yes, so when we're talking about crime, here's a huge problem. Experts solve problems, but at City Hall, who is answering the question about how do we get our young men out of the streets? Who's answering the question of how to prevent recidivism? And I can confidently say that we do not have criminologists who have studied criminology and crime prevention making these decisions. And a key feature of my public safety platform is the formation of a Department of Criminology and Crime Prevention with experts who can confidently and with real knowledge answer these questions and make policy and budgeting recommendations. And from there, we'll see the development of programs that are going to reduce poverty, that'll provide jobs, that'll develop housing, and that will address the mental health crisis that exists in our city. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. And can we hear from Tyrone Darden about crime in District 2?
Yes, you can. So for me, it's very simple. Crime in District 2 is an equity situation. So going back to that workforce development question, when you have a working community, crime is low, specifically violent crime, which plagues District 2 and, again, the east side portion of District 2. So we need to look at how we distribute resources, not on a fair or equal situation, but an equitable situation. We need to be tied into those opportunities. Workforce is the first thing that I will point out. The second thing I will point out is infrastructure. You think about it. If you put a drone over the city, District 2 would look like a rural community because it's the darkest part of our city. And so some simple things just like lighting, safety with your sidewalks and things like that would decrease crime. We have those gaps in our district. So equity is the biggest thing. And I can name 4 or 5 more hot topics, but lighting, access to resources, education opportunities are all things that will lower the violent crime for District 2. Thank you.
Time, Mr. Darden. Thank you. We have very little time left since we had said that we would begin this next city council district at 11:15. So I believe we need to wrap up District 2. And I'm sorry because we had many more questions for you. Let us prepare to move on to City Council District 9. And I would like to